Welcome back, comrades. I hope this works. Huh. Oh, that's right. Okay, so it is loading my thing here. Yeah. Okay. So we know that this is working. That's good. That's all I needed to see. Okay. Now I'm just gonna get the word out here about this. All right. That is the wrong server. Just getting the word out about this stuff. Okay. And then here, here, and here. All right. Uh, let's do that because we can. Where else? Anywhere else? No. Okay, we're set to go. Set to go. Now, I'm gonna need to use the mouse for this stream, because well, laptop and this thing's controller connections are generally iffy. So let's give this a shot. I hope. Okay, yeah, the keyboard settings are fine. Okay. Am I forgetting anything? I don't think so. 19th of February, local prison, cell 9. So these are British prison cells. Oh, they're ghastly. It feels just like a dungeon. Yes, and having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls. Oh, don't, Mr. Naruhodo. You're making it seem worse. Apparently, our client is in this cell here. But it's so dark at the back there, I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like. Inmate 53! Your legal representative is here to see you! Stop hiding at the back of the cell and show your face at once! Am I a cat as yet with no name? Calling me by a number, it's utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I refuse to answer. Wait a minute. Mr. Naruhodo, what? What do you think is going on here? I have no idea. But I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese. Okay, so here's our guy. For a second, I thought it was Herlock. Wait, what? Excuse me, but whoosh! Quiet! Okay. This guy seems well adjusted. They're all around. hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening, even now. I can sense it. Right. So, could I ask you who exactly... There you are! You've come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it, you're a ghost! A ghost? We mean you no harm, prisoner-san. Are you... Japanese by any chance? This is... beyond my wildest dreams! Oh. Thank you, Heck. Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's fine. Just a little surprised, that's all. Imagine it! It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am, in a frightful fix in a foreign land. So hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damp, dark hellhole was a most monumentally moving moment! Who'd have guessed this new client Lord Strongheart assigned to us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese? Ah, what compassion my fellow countrymen show. Dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nippon! First-class lawyer? Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here. I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example. Yes, I can, I will! Don't stay sullen and silent! I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy. Yes, he does. I hope he actually has a good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I am a lawyer, as you said. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Sato Mikotoba. I am a visiting student, sent here by our government. Notably, notoriously named Natsume! Soseki Natsume. No, we just got started fire. We've just met this guy. Soseki Natsume. Soseki Natsume-san? What an unusual name. Call me Soseki, please. I'm a poet, you see. A writer of haiku. It's something of a nom de plume. Nom de plume? You mean an alias? That's right, Naruhodo-san. No! Don't be so prosaic! It's much more refined than that! And haiku? That really reminds me of home. Did I hear you say that you were a visiting student sent over here by the government? Yes, that's right. A year ago I was told to go and study English. First I had to suffer that misery, and now this is beyond the pale! Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here? No, I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course. Oh. But! Just because the government tells you to do something doesn't mean you can do it? No! What do you mean? If they told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That's my field. Since previous stream, I went back and looked up a playthrough of what I had missed. Okay, cool. Glad you got caught up. Ah, person you watched mistook the Irish guy as a Canadian. Nice. But no, they told me to study the English language! Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable! I see. Only the other day, I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on white flushy! You must be a man of great standing. Oh, yes. So I'm often told. Yeah, English does kind of suck, doesn't it? I would say let's all speak Russian instead, but maybe hold off on that for a few more months. Probably a couple of years, but hopefully not. Anyway. Oh yes, so I'm often told. And often like to be told, it seems. The accusation against you. Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Soseki-san? I didn't do it! I didn't commit that atrocious murder! Murder? Oh, no, it's all right. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes! Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker? I didn't see anyone. What? If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here? Oh dear, it seems this case is becoming rather complicated. Why me? Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? Also, yes, hello, Aram. Thank you for coming. It's the curse of London! It's... Ah, hey, Ember. What's he playing? The curse of London! It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient! Oh, hi, Dorito! Man, everyone's coming. So Soseki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker. It's vital that we find out more about the case. It was an accursed evening, just after the snow had started to clear and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books. I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings. Sure the bookshop wasn't accursed too? Another posture check. Yeah. It's kind of hard to maintain good posture in this chair. I think... Let's see, what can I do about that? Maybe this? There we go. This should do. This should do. Thank you, Dorito. As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. Wait, what did he say? Okay, no he didn't. Make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman, wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. How terrible! Oh, sorry, how terrible! I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghostly, foolish, grim graveyard. Slight exaggeration there, perhaps. I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings. That's not good. They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that. Tell me, Soseki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours? Don't be ridiculous! Do you think I know any of these fair-haired English? And a young woman at that! I'm diffident, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people! I see. A young woman unknown to Soseki-san. And at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anybody pass you? Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul. No one? Oh, great. So the victim was unknown to you, and there was nobody else on the street at the time.
That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it?
What conundrum? Was the knife thrown, and were they aiming for Soseki? Let's see where this goes. What do you mean, Susato-san? What's the conundrum?
Well, if what Soseki-san has just told us is true, there's something I can't explain. He says that he didn't know the victim and that there was no one else at the scene. Then he apparently fled without having been seen?
I did! But if that's the case... Oh. How did he end up in here in the first place? Oh dear. Oh yeah, I should probably rebalance the audio again now that we're not dealing with the blaring music of Shining Stars. All the conversations I have with Ryunosuke that no one else seems to react to could be in Japanese. Yeah, the blue lines are Ryunosuke's inner thoughts. Those are probably in Japanese. And before the plot twist is that I was the real murderer. No, wrong game, Fire. Wrong game. I actually just watched a playthrough recently where that was the twist. But it didn't just stop at murder. Let's just leave it at that. But if that's the case, surely this man has to be the culprit. Ah! You! What did you just say? Yeah, there was this game where like there was people were being picked off one by one, and the twist was that you were a cannibal and had been trying to get these other people make these other people acquire a taste for human flesh. It was an interesting story. Anyway, what did you just say? Nothing. I didn't say anything. Oops, perhaps I thought that a little loudly.
Actually, that's not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Soseki-san actually come to be arrested?
See, there we go. Sorry.
He didn't touch the victim, and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was there in the first place?
Oh yes! She's right. It was him. Oh no. Oh no. What have you done, Aura? What did that young woman ever do to you? It was him. That accursed great detective. He led the police to me. Oh, for... Damn it, Herlock! Ah! Of all the bad luck! Cursed great detective? I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live. His haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Rash, big-headed busybody, be gone! May you be cursed until the end of your days, Herlock Sholmes! I knew it!
Mr. Sholmes?
Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure. It was the morning after that nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a sliver of hard cheese when some men suddenly burst in through the door. They started shouting at me, "This is the police! Put the weapon down!" Yes, it was a thin sliver, and yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon!
disgusting dietary discrimination devils! You clearly had a trying morning yesterday. There he was, in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. Herlockian! It's actually just Herlock Sholmes. He's English. I've since found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London. Yes, the great detective is really very well known. And his overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. He thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman! Me! This weak, stooped kit of a man! I wonder what great deduction process led him to his conclusion this time. Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable. Well, the thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged their way in. Of course you were. That's only natural. I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me in impossible English. Fiendish, foreign, flim-flammery! Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English. Good point. But my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, yes, I do, and I'm fine. The next thing I knew, I was in manacles, and before I knew it, I was thrown in here. Oh dear, I'm afraid that's hardly surprising. Someone really did read a dictionary before doing his dialogue. This guy's supposed to be a haiku poet, so yeah, this guy's got to know his words. And they would have had to find some neat way to translate this guy's Japanese into English that is similarly poetic. Fine. He's not fine now. Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo, and when we're speaking English, the simple Mr. is more than enough. Oh, yes, alright, yes, they've really got to me. This country is poisoning my mind. Please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened, you'll do it, won't you? Well, Why? Why? Why is it so hard to say yes to me? Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself, on a study tour. A student? I have defended a case in the Old Bailey. Only the one, though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means. Oh, Naruhodo-san. I'm not even the foreign student who was supposed to be here. I'm a sort of locum lawyer, I suppose. But that armband! That's the mark of a defense lawyer from our great empire! It's a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend. A keepsake? I know exactly what they're saying about me. Oh, who do you mean? Lawyers. All the British defense lawyers. They won't defend me. Goodness, why do you say that? For the same reason as you noted before. When it happened, there was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit. Must be very hard for you, Soseki-san. And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them, someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot, without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said, and of course the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say the man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway. That's awful. They're wrong! I've studied more English than half of the policemen out there on the streets! I've traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So, at the very least,
I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. Could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through.
Sosuke-san, it's just that... Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can for the time being.
What do you mean?
We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it'll give us a much better chance, I'm sure.
Oh yes, yes, thank you! I'll be here, all alone, waiting for you. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire!
We should be going then, Naruhodo-san.
Sosuke to Toad? Oh no. Oh no. Okay, let's try it. Let's try it. Let's try it.
We have a case to prepare for.
Do I have anything else to speak with this guy about? Not yet. Okay. What happens if I present this? I said, what happens if I present this?
Yes! Yes! The symbol of one of our great empire's first great warriors! Which means, of course, you'll stand by my side, you'll defend me!
Oh, no, sorry, that wasn't why I was showing it to you.
Then why else would you show me that?
Oops. In hindsight, that probably wasn't the best idea. Okay. Alright. I guess we gotta go back to Briar Road. Oh hey, it's this guy again. What's the Japanese delegation doing here?
Oh, Inspector Gregson!
This is another tourist trail, so I'm trying to show you where they were.
Yes, of course. We're here to investigate.
So you've been to the old cells then? What'd you make of the criminal?
He's not a criminal, as you put it, Inspector. He's a suspect.
We'll see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose. Well, do what you will. Doesn't bother me. Go to the court tomorrow, whatever happens. Verdict's upon non-conclusion. Cold air of rejection.
Take heart, London at this time of year is full of stone cold air.
That makes it worse somehow. Sure, we can talk to this guy.
Tell me about Scotland Yard, Inspector. Ever since I read about it in The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, I've been fascinated by the place.
The Yard, the most sophisticated police and organization you'll find anywhere in the world, man.
Oh, and you know I've always dreamt of wearing a real Bobby's helmet.
It does make them look like seeing that policeman there with his helmet on. You certainly get the sense that this is a man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting his city.
Oh yes, doesn't he look wonderful?
Being a London hobby is ongoing, I can tell you.
Oh, really?
First thing in the morning, do you know what he does? Goes round and around, rouses all the labourers on his beat so they can get off to work.
What? He wakes people up?
Yep. Raps on the windows with long pull. Did it myself going back a bit.
I had no idea.
Bobby works for the people of the town. It's another one of his duties. After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He does to cover 20 miles a day. Regulation distance.
I can't really imagine how far that is, but it sounds like a long way. Let me see. 20 miles. That's approximately the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama.
What? That's definitely taking things a step too far.
When it gets dark, of course. There's the important job of lighting all the gas street.
What? I suppose in between all of those duties, Bobbies are expected to investigate cases as well? And chase after criminals trying to evade the law!
I'm not sure you can call it in between, exactly. Or alongside, but yes. They're expected to handle those jobs as well. We do have men keeling over from time to time, I admit.
I'd always dreamt of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it's with a heavy heart that I shall have to relinquish that dream to you, Mr. Naruto.
Your heavy heart will be my heavy head if you do. Happened around 5 in the evening 2 days ago. Just there on that open bit of pavement. The victim, a young woman, was stabbed with a blade from behind.
Is it right that the lady is still unconscious now? You mentioned that she's being treated in the hospital.
I never said she was a lady. Truth is, unless she comes around pretty smartish, we won't be able to find out much about her at all.
I suppose that means they haven't been able to take a statement from her, of course.
Here's a map of the local area I happen to have on me. Take it if you want.
Really? Are you sure?
It's the odd policy to give lawyers dependent suspects the odd bit of information to go on.
I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still. Thank you, Inspector. We gratefully accept.
The local map has been entered into the court record. Anyway, as far as we know, there's no one else in the scene other than the victim and your fellow countrymen. Who did it, do you think? A head scratcher, is it?
Well, I know Mr. Natsume is also claiming not to have seen anyone else around. But just because he didn't see anyone, it doesn't mean we can be sure that nobody else was present.
Sorry to have to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure.
How?
Because, ma'am, the precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed.
What?
We have 2 very reliable witnesses, no less.
Ah!
It was a typical foggy London day, and the client obviously didn't see them.
There were witnesses now?
Twitchy Japanese bloke goes on trial tomorrow. You gonna defend him or not?
Well,
Makes no difference to me, but we'll just say this. No London lawyer worth his salt will touch that case with a barge pole.
I guess the prosecution is being handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean?
There's no way to save the man now. It's a waste of time trying. It's all a bit strange, though.
Sorry?
Reaper. He hasn't appeared in court once for a good few years now.
Yes, we did hear something to that effect.
The only people he usually bothers with are real scum, the master criminals, the violent ones.
Master criminals? The violent ones?
That's right. He handpicks his victims, only deals with those guaranteed to go to the gallows for their sins.
But Mr. Natsume wouldn't hang for what he's accused of, surely.
That's just my point, sunshine. Yes, the young woman was stabbed, but it didn't kill her. Couldn't even say the intent was there. So this isn't the sort of case I'd be expecting the Reaper to want to stick his teeth into, for want of a better phrase.
Well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, is it?
No, there's got to be more to it. Some reason he's taken an interest.
Really? What sort of reason, Inspector?
Think I can tell what's going on inside the head of that Lord of Darkness? You'll have to ask him yourself at tomorrow's trial.
Are we gonna have to face the Reaper again? The Lord of Darkness, as he put it? Who are these witnesses, Inspector?
A fellow and his wife. That's one of the most reliable and respected citizens in all of London. He's a copper from Scotland Yard.
Ah! A policeman? That might change things. This policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked?
Nothing peculiar about that, man. Part and parcel of being a bobby, catching and banging the act and all that.
Do you think it might be possible for us to ask that policeman a few questions?
Be my guest, and ask him what you like. In court tomorrow. Oh, I've no doubt someone as a witness. So I'll give you something to look forward to.
That's that then. He's got no intention of letting us meet the man beforehand, it seems. A policeman witnessed the incident. As your judicial assistant, I must warn you that this could make our job very difficult indeed.
Yes, as a non-judicial assistant, I could have warned me of that too.
Oh yes, one more thing, Inspector.
What?
The person who led you to the suspect, I hear that was Mr. Herlockian.
What are you bringing him up for?
Is it something I said? The color is strange from his cheeks.
Now let's press that a bit further. Who did you hear that name from?
Oh, well, it was Mr. Natsume who mentioned it. He said that Mr. Schultz was with the police when they entered his lodgings. I'm sure it was the result of one of Mr. Schultz's inspirational great deductions.
Fiddle faddle.
Ah!
Man's an amateur. I'm getting sick and tired of him showing his mug everywhere.
Oh,
I don't know where he gets his information from, but he turns up at the scene of the crime, wanders around spouting incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claims to have solved the case.
yes, he's quite astounding, isn't he? He is a great help to Scotland Yard, though, isn't he?
Gibble gabble!
Ah!
Ever seen this before?
Oh, yes, that's Rance Magazine. The wonderful publication in which the adventures of Herlockian appears.
Yes, well, that wonderful publication, as you put it, sees fit to include several of the Yard's detectives in its stories. The so-called Great Detective makes a mockery of all of us. If you ask anyone at the Yard, it's a misadventure to be included in any Herlockian's tale at all.
Well, I suppose there is an element of...
We work our socks off, every one of us, only to be frumped by the public thanks to that obnoxious detective. Man's as dangerous to us at Scotland Yard as he is to all our criminals.
That can't really be true, can it, Inspector?
Clearly, the Great Detective and the police have a complex relationship.
Well, I don't think we're going to get any more useful information out of the detective. Mr. Naruhodo, can I make a suggestion?
Oh, yes, what is it?
Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this.
By him, do you mean Mr. Schultz?
Yes, Mr. Herlockian, exactly.
Look at those shining eyes. You can't wait, can you?
Well, Mr. Natsume did blame Mr. Schultz for all of this, didn't he? Yes, he did. He really did. Which makes him an involved party in the case. Are you just going to ignore that? I hope not. I assure you, it's not simply my selfish desire to meet with Mr. Schultz again. The trouble is, we have no idea of the man's address. So, it's Baker Street! It's Baker Street.
How do you know that?
It's in the stories, of course. 221 Baker Street, the most famous address in the world.
Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing to stop us from going, I suppose. Better try to find our way there before Susato-san gets any more excited than they get any more excited than unpredictable.
Hurrah! I'll summon a carriage!
So we're to have a reunion already. The great detective, Mr. Herlockian. Okay. Hang on, there's one thing I'd like to do. Okay. Okay, so this is a 2D thing. Yep, all of that. Alright. Let's have some fun. Sholmes is sweet.
Ooh, cutscene.
Thank you very much. It's just up there overlooking the street. Good day. Thanks again. This is it. The residence of Mr. Herlock Showers.
Doggos. Yep. "19th of February, 12:53 p.m. Sholmes' suite." So this is where the great detective makes his living. It feels surreal to be here somehow. Hang on. Is that described in the stories, Miss Susato? Okay. Did I miss anything? I did not. Okay. Susato's not? Many famous cases have been solved here in this very room. Oh, I suppose they must have been, yes. I've never read the story, so it's hard to get quite as excited about it as she seems to be. The detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the fog down an unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it, the romanticism! Can't you feel your heart pumping in your chest? Can't you, Mr. Naruto? Oh, I suppose I can, yes. So, if you don't mind, I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer. Please don't mind me. She says. Well, looks like our detective friend isn't home at present. Excuse me, is anybody home? Oh, do we have a visitor?
Hello, is it a big new case for Mr. Sholmes?
Hello. Wait, aren't you...
Oh, how rude of me. I'll go and make some tea at once.
I'm sure it's the same girl. Miss Susato, did you see the girl who was just here? Oh yes, isn't it truly extraordinary? Just think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Sholmes to take on his case. The King of Bowaria? King Willem Gottsreich Sigismund von Ormstein, of course. Ormstein. Of course. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Forget the adventures of Herlock Sholmes for a moment. Look over there!
Tea's brewed, and I have a freshly baked cake as well.
Ah, it's you! I knew it. Susato-san recognizes her too.
Ah, there you are. I'm taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Smoke grenade launcher? Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine.
The girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGilbert's trial in the defendant's antechamber.
I've never met a lawyer from the Far East before. Or you having to get straight to work when you've only just arrived in London.
Oh, yes, it was challenging.
Well, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know.
Oh, thank you. Is tea supposed to look that color? Is it like pink?
Oh my, what a fragrant yet mellow flavor.
Hooray! It's a winner! I tried blending different leaves designed to alleviate fatigue, you see. You must be exhausted after your long voyage here, and you have another ticklish trial tomorrow. Oh, and you're a defended Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of luck.
Did Mr. Sholmes tell you about it? Sorry, did Mr. Sholmes tell you about us by any chance?
Oh, you know Hurley, do you?
Hurley? Mr. Sholmes to you, surely. Mr. Sholmes was a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see.
Was he really? Well, I had no idea. Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's out on an errand again today, even though he just returned from overseas.
Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time ever yesterday after the trial, and only briefly at that. How on earth does she know so much about us? Did she deduce all those things, do you think? And perhaps more to the point, why is she here in Mr. Sholmes' suite?
Oh, silly me. I haven't introduced myself, have I? It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson. I live here together with Hurley.
Ah, Iris, is it? What a lovely name.
What?
What's the matter?
No, wait, this can't be. Did you say that your name is Wilson?
What's the matter with Susato-san? Why is she so flustered all of a sudden?
Yes, that's right. And what are your names?
Oh, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan.
Oh, sorry.
I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. It's wonderful to meet you.
Lovely. Susie and Bruno. Got it.
Susie? And Bruno. There's more to this girl than meets the eye. I have so many questions for her, I don't know where to start.
Yes, and so do I.
There are two things I gotta do here. One is this. Mystery shoe, a curious hammer, some mysterious dancing men, a bust of Napoleon.
Ah, what an entrancing collection.
This is the first time in my life that I've seen a lonely old shoe displayed as an ornament.
Oh, those are all mementos that Hurley has collected from his past cases.
Really? Even the bust?
Yes, that's right. When the mood takes him, he likes to throw it on the floor and smash it to dust.
Poor defenseless emperor? Mr. Sholmes destroys it?
Yes, and then he buys a new one.
You make it sound like he has the temperament of an insane sculptor.
Ah, how entrancingly bohemian of him.
Oh, this is what I gotta... Yeah.
Ah, that's my blackboard where I note down ideas.
Ooh, interesting. The Black Peter. What does that mean?
Don't you want to hear what Iris has to say, Mr. Naruhodo?
I'll come back to that blackboard later. What on earth is that big black lump over there?
Ah, that fascinating thing is called a typewriter. A machine that allows you to write on paper without needing a pen. And wizardly quickly, too.
That sounds like it could be very useful for someone like me with terrible handwriting. Anything else to examine? What's this? That's a charming little white shelf, and full of charming little bottles, too.
Oh yes, but don't touch any of those. They might explode.
Explode?
Are they exotic chemicals? Do you use them for exciting experiments? Yes, indeed. And as Hurley always says, chemistry is an explosive science.
I agree. A single discovery can trigger an explosion of innovation all around the world. Or perhaps he just meant it literally
Either way, mental note, do not touch any bottle that belongs to Iris. Man. This hits so differently when you're an actual chemist. Because a few years ago there was this story, like, you have all these safety measures that you have to keep in place when you're in a chemical lab. Like, there's the fume hoods, there's you gotta have working spill kits, you gotta dispose of everything in the right bin. Because if you don't, then, well, I think it was either N-butyl lithium or tert-butyl lithium that no one was working with. And the point is, those ignite on contact with air. So, well, more specifically water, but yeah, the water vapor in the atmosphere is enough to set it off. She ended up getting it on her face, burned her face off. She died. So that was a real that made some waves in the synthetic chemistry community. And honestly, that was around the time I stopped being involved in synthesis labs myself. I guess you could say I took it as a sign that I had made the right decision, because I didn't want to go like that, and I sure as hell wasn't the best with managing things like that with my hands. So, but no, I do not have any explosive bottles on a cute shelf. Explosive bottles on a maybe less than cute shelf, maybe probably around here somewhere. Yeah, no. Sorry to ruin the joke for the rest of you, but yeah, that's all I can think of when I hear about, like, explosive chemicals that people are using for experiments. It's no joke. What a beautiful English tea set, and so neatly arranged.
It's a favorite pastime of mine. Double herbal tea in the afternoon.
Tea made of herbs?
That's right. I grow all sorts of herbs in the garden, so I can experiment with different blends.
Nah, don't worry, Fire. The message came up for me a good way, like, just as I was starting that talk about what had happened. So that's not on you. Don't worry about it.
That's right. I grow all sorts of herbs in the garden, so I can experiment with different blends. One moment, don't go away. I'll brew a pot of the special blend I came up with earlier today.
She looks delighted. I only hope it's safe to drink. Anything else in this section of the room? No. Get over here again. What's this? It looks like that huge metal chest is being used as a table for tea and coffee. It's very sturdy with an equally sturdy lock.
Mr. Arhodo, you mustn't go around opening things. I always have to keep an eye on you, don't I? You're very mischievous.
How did you come to that conclusion?
Ooh, that chest. Contains some of my most valuable things.
And that smile tells me you're not going to give us any clue about what they are. I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Lingering beside the fire, watching the flames flicker and dance in the grate. Ah, it's so relaxing.
We can't relax, not when there are so many interesting things on the mantelpiece. Oh, it's just as it was described in the stories. Yes, exactly. Inside that Persian slipper, for example, are my chocolates for 11s. Transfixed by that large jackknife is my shopping list for the market. Oh, it's not quite how I remember it being described in the Adventures of Herlockian Holmes.
Poor Susato-san. She looks crushed. There's all sorts on these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high, I can't help feeling a whole lot is gonna topple at any moment.
I keep telling Hurley not to cram so much on those shelves.
Good advice.
He wanted to look something up in one of those books a while ago, but it was so tightly wedged in he couldn't get it out. So he went and bought a new copy instead.
Oh. Yep. Relatable. Well, minus the buying a new one part. Alright, what do we got? Okay, I've misclicked. Nope, that's the wrong two. There. Okay, I guess I can't combine this sort of control. That's okay. Not what I meant to do. What's this? What on earth is this huge over-the-top machine?
That's the great analytoscope. It can analyze anything, really. Anything at all.
That's absolutely incredible.
It's one of Hurley's inventions. It took him a whole year. He said it was to help him with his investigations.
What sort of things does he analyze with it, do you know?
Well, actually, he hasn't used it for anything yet.
Oh, why not?
Apparently, on the evening he finally completed it, it suddenly occurred to him. I don't actually have anything I need to analyze. Dear. How about you, Runa? Do you have anything you'd like to analyze?
The only thing that springs to mind is this machine itself. Okay, this was the other thing. I've seen pictures of Western musical instruments like this. It's called a violin.
Of course it is! Mr. Sholmes is renowned for his violin playing.
Oh, really?
Absolutely! It's often explained in stories. It's inspirational, Mr. Naruto. Inspirational! I immediately started playing the koto, which was the closest Japanese stringed instrument I could find.
What a shame you couldn't bring it with you to London.
Oh, yes, well... Papa was beaming when I asked him if he would buy me one. But after a while, he asked if I would only practice when he was out of the house. So now it's merely an ornament in my room.
That must have been an awkward conversation. Achievement unlocked, second-rate strings. Nice. Okay, is there anything else to look at in this room? Papers on the floor. Chair. Love this. Nope. Okay. Where is back? There. Okay. And just to make sure, we've examined this, right? Yes. Okay. Okay. Converse. Iris. It was you that we ran into yesterday, wasn't it? At the Old Bailey.
Yes, that's right. You were ever so helpful. Thank you so much.
Oh no, not at all. I'm so sorry we couldn't have been more welcoming.
Though, at the time, we did have a rather large gun pointed at us.
Like this?
You're a third-rate musician with a fourth-rate instrument. Nice.
Thinking back now, you left with Miss Lestrade, didn't you?
Oh yes, that awkward witness, Tina Lestrade.
Oh, Ginny. Yes, she's a professional pickpocket.
So we found out.
It was very naughty of her to pinch my invention like that.
Are you referring to that crowd-disrupting gun-like contraption?
Exactly. So I followed her, you see, to get it back. Perhaps I should think about fitting a self-destruct mechanism in my inventions.
This girl is dangerous.
Anyway, I brought Ginny back here after that, so she can apologize to my trusty technician.
Sorry, you're a technician?
Hurley, of course, silly.
Hurley?
Yes, Herlock Sholmes. We live here together.
I had no idea the great detective had such an interesting young daughter.
Daughter? Not likely.
What?
I wouldn't call him Hurley if he was my father, would I?
Well then, what is your relationship with Mr. Sholmes?
Well, I expect you found out that lodgings of any kind in London are very expensive. So the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate.
Your mate?
I hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you? 10 at last this year.
Well, what of your mother and father? Uh-oh. Maybe don't ask that.
Oh no, they're not around.
Oh, I see. I wonder what the story is there. About before.
Yes, what's on your mind, Bruno? Do tell me.
How did you know that I was a lawyer and just arrived in London? I mean?
Yes. Oh, and that we have a difficult trial tomorrow. How did you know all of that?
Well, the first two things are obvious. Ryunosuke is wearing an armband, and Susato is still dressed up in is that a kimono? Is that the yukata? I don't know what that is specifically. But very Japanese.
Oh, please tell us how you did it. Explain every detail. Of course, I'd be delighted. Although there's really no mystery. Now let's begin. Iris Wilson is proud to present her Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. First of all, I knew already that you were a lawyer, Bruno. After all, I met you yesterday at the Old Bailey in the defendant's antechamber.
But you also said that we'd only just arrived in London. How did you know that?
I had served a passport and travel ticket protruding from your breast pocket.
Oh,
So I was reasonably confident that you must have only just arrived in the country. On top of that, you accepted a case against that particular prosecutor, telling me you were unaware of London's court affairs.
the Reaper of the Bailey? I walked right into that one, didn't I?
Then I noticed a red ink stamp on the back of Susie's hand. You were given that when you visited the local prison to meet with the suspect, weren't you? Earlier today. Ah!
Oh, right, that's the thing.
They use those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see. I didn't realize. And a red stamp is only used for people visiting foreign inmates. So that told me that even though you had only yesterday concluded the trial of Magnus, two of you had already had cause to visit a foreign inmate in a local prison. However, neither of you was wearing a particularly sad expression on your face, so I concluded that the prisoner was unlikely to be a friend or a relative. That led me to believe that you must have accepted a new case.
I see.
But how could you have known that the trial is tomorrow? Well, having barely been home a few hours yesterday, Hurley solved yet another case. It obviously amused him. He told me that he'd caught a Japanese man who was bawling and trembling.
Japanese man? Well, clearly that must have been
Mr. Natsume. Now, Bruno has that fancy Japanese sword. I think your outfit is called a kimono, isn't it, Susie?
okay, it's a kimono.
Well, anyway, it was clear to me that you both come from Japan yourselves. So I put two and two together and decided you must be defending the Japanese man Hurley caught. There was only one conclusion those facts could lead me to. You both came here to ask Hurley about the case. There's a note on the mantelpiece that says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Hurley is always stabbing his nose with a knife, you know. He's silly. And that's all there was to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Wilson, and that was one of my great deductions. Well, was it a winner? Were my deductions correct?
They were spot on. That was amazing, Iris. Truly a great deduction. Truly a great deduction.
You even managed to certain something of Mr. Sholmes' delivery.
Oh, well, I was just copying Hurley's style for that.
This is really very good news. You can tell us all about the case involving the Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris? Please? Oh yes, there's something I must ask you.
Of course. Go ahead, Susie.
She is better than Sholmes. That's what I was thinking, Fire. Yeah, she's got the style down, but she doesn't get the details wrong like Sholmes does. Good for her.
I am a very great fan of the Adventures of Herlockian.
Oh, you have a copy of France magazine?
Yes, I read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on the ship.
Oh, this is so exciting. My stories are being read on the other side of the world.
My stories? Oh, she writes them?
That's right. Hurley is always solving such amazing cases, you see, and he tells me all about them. They really are quite fascinating. It would be such a shame if I was the only one who ever heard them, don't you think?
Bonus points for having a giant gun. I know, right?
Goodness.
Goodness! Last night he was telling me all about a new case he just solved on a steamship traveling from a faraway land. So I was just in the middle of typing up the manuscript for the next issue before you came.
So you are the author?
Yes, I'll let you in on a secret if you like. I'm gonna call this latest adventure the Speckled Band.
The Speckled Band? That's certainly very familiar.
Of course, I always change one or two details of the stories, here and there. This time I had the idea of making a venomous snake be the cause of all the trouble.
So it was you. It was you who set up the red herring in the intro. How could you? Alright. All respect is lost. Oh, that was Mr. Sholmes' first thought as well, actually.
Yes, and of course I know that a snake might not be a credible fit for the facts of the case exactly, but... it's a story! Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think. Don't you?
In this case, no. No, I do not.
So, do you mean to say... are the stories about Mr. Sholmes that are published in Rand's magazine?
All it might be? Yes, on my wonderful and very modern typewriter.
But all the stories I've ever read are written by a doctor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson.
Sato-san's getting more and more worked up.
Ah, yes, that's me. I mean, my name really is Wilson.
But what about the doctor of medicine part?
That's all true, too. I am a doctor of medicine.
No, at 10 years old?
At 10 years old.
Well, that's quite incredible.
But...
So this is how they continued the trend of progressively younger characters getting their degrees when they are far too young to do that. You know, like with Franziska von Karma in the original trilogy.
But... Wilson is an English gentleman. Ah, yes. I did alter the setting slightly for the stories to be more compelling. Oh! Well, it sounds a little strange, doesn't it? A great detective with a 10-year-old girl in tow?
I suppose it does, yes.
Poor Susato-san. She looks like her whole world has just fallen apart. Now, before we go any further, there's one other thing I gotta do.
Ah, that's my blackboard where I note down ideas. Black Fever? What does that mean?
Ooh, how intriguing. Must be the title of Iris's latest work. Oh my! I wonder what fantastic tale awaits us.
Susato-san looks like an angel, but I bet she's dreaming of the most grisly crime you could imagine.
It's a case that Hurley solved just recently. A black cat called Peter went missing in the neighborhood. Hurley tracked it down to the fishmongers in the end. Well, I can't wait for the story to be published.
Okay. Let's continue talking with Iris. Yeah, that was all just the chief stuff I was doing just now, so. The case of the Japanese man. So yesterday, Mr. Schultz apprehended a Japanese man, you were saying.
Yes. Hurley had just arrived back in London after a sea voyage, but the police were waiting for him at the railway station to take him directly to the crime scene.
Ah, Great Detective is a popular man, it seems.
Apparently a woman was stabbed on a quiet street somewhere in town. There were witnesses who had seen a short, shifty-looking stooped man running away from the scene.
A short, shifty-looking, stooped man. Mr. Natsume, beyond any doubt. Suzuki-san said that he didn't see anybody else on the street at all. But it seems there were witnesses after all.
Hurley used his great detective powers to determine the man's address. It was a lodging room very nearby. He went directly there with the police, and what did they find? A short, shifty-looking, stooped man shivering in fear.
Mr. Schultz's brief deduction certainly hit the mark that time.
Of course it did. He's a great detective.
Still, that means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow is too soon for the trial, isn't it?
Definitely. We have no time to investigate properly. Hurley says that London is rife with crime. Scotland Yard is doing its best, but they can't stay on top of it, apparently.
Dear, I hadn't realized the situation was so dire.
That's why they can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying the criminals in court. Staff and money are both short. Crimes are usually pinned on the first suspicious person.
You don't see a problem with this? That's terrible.
I suppose it's the harsh reality of the workings of the world's greatest justice system.
World's greatest. This is the world's greatest. We really are owned, aren't we? Then again, that's probably the point of the entire series as a whole, if you think about it. I suppose it is. In that case, I don't hold out much hope for Sosuke-san. Thank you for answering so many of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative.
Oh, you're most welcome. I've had so much fun.
I'm curious now as to Iris's relation to the guy who the professor who died in the first case. Was that her dad? Oh boy. Oh boy. This is going to be fun to unravel. Nothing needs to be explained anymore because using amazing deduction skills is a thing. Well, I mean, they've shown us a few times how it works. But when they show us how it works, it's believable. In this case, deducing the address just from that beggars belief a little bit. Okay.
Oh, you're most welcome. I've had so much fun.
Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is at the moment? As you guessed, we'd like to ask him some questions about this case as well.
Oh, I expect Hurley is still investigating the scene.
Of the case involving Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, Mr. Natsume. Hurley said he was going to the man's lodgings. If you leave now, you'll probably catch him there.
Iris, do you know where those lodgings are?
Well, I imagine the police are still investigating the scene of the crime themselves, aren't they? Did you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson when you were there?
Yes, we know Inspector Gregson.
Ah, goody. In that case, give Gregsy this from me, would you?
Do that, I'm sure he'll tell you what you want to know. What is this? A 5-shilling piece in a postcard, it seems. Iris' postcard. Then entered into the court record. Reads, tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem. Gosh, this will make the inspector help us, will it? Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give it a try. Good luck, then. I'm going to return to writing my manuscript, The Speckled Band. I'll be making more special blends of tea, so come back again soon. I'd be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, it's back to the scene of the crime. So it's somewhat dubious that they would exert any influence over the men of Scotland Yard at all. It does sound like a threat, Fire. We headed back to the scene with Iris' curious note and one of the world's heaviest silver coins in hand. To be continued. So we'll save that here. She probably has Chipman at gunpoint. Yeah. The running thing, the running theme in the entire Ace Attorney series, well, a running theme, is that the court system is just so unbelievably broken. It was the first game was originally drawn up to satirize and criticize the Japanese justice system, where basically the defendants are all guilty until proven innocent. But now I see they're branching that out into the British judicial system too. But yeah, in the first game, there is a limit of 3 days for trials, after which they have to come to a verdict because they have to rush things because there's too many cases and not enough infrastructure. And so now we're dealing with this. Okay, 19th February, 2:38 p.m., Briar Road. It looks as though the police are still here carrying on with their investigation. Perfect. So let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible. Yes. Let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him. Right, did all that. Present. Can you examine this? Oh! You can. This is a 5-shilling piece, isn't it? I believe it's called a crown. Yes, you can train a Scotland Yard detective to do whatever you want with just a single one. Iris must be the most powerful 10-year-old in the world. How much is 5 shillings, by the way? What's it really worth? Well, it's probably enough to buy all the chips the inspector could possibly eat in a whole month. That's greasy. How do I rotate it? How do I rotate this? Oh, arrow keys. Okay. There. Speedrun getting a not guilty verdict, any percent, no major glitches. Yeah,
people will actually do that. I am not one of them. But Iris's little handwriting is adorable, isn't it?
Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem.
Yes, the handwriting might be adorable, but the message is... Yes. There's no room for sentiment there.
I'm sure it's simply the way you're interpreting it, Mr. Naruhodo. Anyway, I do hope the inspector will tell us what we need to know when he reads it.
You don't think it'll just make him munch piping hot chips until steam comes out of his ears, do you?
Well, that wouldn't be an entirely terrible outcome.
Is this just... Yeah, this is just... Alright. Back. Present. Oh, right. No, I gotta present this. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment? Sorry to say I don't. Very busy, man. Not too busy to talk about foreign gadabouts, that's for sure.
We have these for you. A present from Miss Iris.
What? For me? From her ladyship?
Her ladyship.
Give that here! Once! Come on, hand it over, that's for me! Ah! Don't wait for me to give it to you, will you? What was that coin exactly? Silver crown, obviously. It's a lot more than that. It's an appearance fee, that's what it is.
An appearance fee? Oh, I see, you mean...
That's right. For the adventures of Herlock shows. Her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me. Every time.
Yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly.
Of course, no use my name without my say-so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes. Still. I'm sorry, Inspector. That must be difficult for you. Never you mind that. What do you want to know then, eh? Sorry. Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem, he says. Well, obviously it's not a problem. Go on, fire away. What do you want to know?
Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, I'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
Ah, the little knife-wielding moustache Japanese fellow. Lives in a right old hovel. It's just over there, look. Oh, does he live in the... Oh. The first floor of that house on the corner where that wreck of a bicycle's propped up.
That is nearby indeed.
If I remember rightly, the landlord is a Mr. John Garrido. Right, well... He's there again. You make sure you give her ladyship my regards, you hear? I mean it. You tell her that Gregson sends the very best wishes. Don't worry, Inspector. We will. Bye for now, then. Long live her ladyship!
Well, at least he told us what we wanted to know before he left. Yes, so then shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings? Definitely!
Yeah.
So, I think what's happening here is we saw earlier that Iris writes stories for Rance magazine about. Does he have a brick in his hat? Now let's see. Oh, he doesn't have his hat in this picture. Yeah, I can't see the hat anymore. Anyway, what's happening is that Gregson is getting paid a lot of money to be featured in Iris's stories that she writes about Sholmes. He says that this gets him a fair bit of mockery because of Sholmes' low opinion of Scotland Yard in general, but he puts up with it because loads of money, you know? And so that seems to be why he has such a high opinion of Iris, is calling her ladyship and everything else. Is that she's probably paying him way more than he's getting from Scotland Yard. That seems to be what's going on here. He calls it an appearance fee. It's, you could call it a bribe, but it's not really, like, bribery for doing things that he shouldn't. It's more of an off-the-books royalty fee for using his likeness in the stories. Nineteenth of February, Mr. Natsume's lodgings. May I help you? Yes, would this be the residence of Mr. John Garrideb? Indeed it would, sir. And who, may I say, is calling? My name is Rinosuke Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Soseki Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here? Oh, I saw a happy face for a moment. We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client. One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garrideb. Did you see that, Mr. Sato? That was a real-life English maid! I know. As I understand it, anyone of standing in English society employs a number of household staff. But that was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better. It certainly feels like we've really arrived now, doesn't it? We need only to meet a butler and the experience will be complete. Well, I'm not sure if I go that far, but I understand the sentiment. Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garrideb will see you now. This way. What is with this guy's hair? Why does he have a cannon? Oh, didn't you know? Let's examine it. That's a full-size cannon! What's it doing in here? Oh my, it's real! I thought it might be a replica. That old thing? Bah, that's little more than a toy. Sorry? Yeah, I see a move in his hair too. The army was selling it off when I retired, so I decided to give it a new home. Never know when the enemy might attack next. Jolly useful to have a cannon about the house. Really? It isn't overkill? Be prepared, I always say. You never know what this twisted world is going to throw at you next, boy. Do you think there may be trouble brewing, Mr. Garrideb? Always is. Take Joan here. Never fails to have a clean apron in reserve. Dries them over the barrel, you see. They dry very well on the cannon there, Joan tells me, which rather proves my point, I feel. Been reduced to a drying rack. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging its head in shame. I notice you have a pile of books here, Mr. Garrideb. Do you enjoy reading? Never experienced a London winter, boy. The nights are long. No better way to pass the time than in front of the fire with a jolly good book. Is he stirring his tea with his pipe? Do people do that? Is that safe?
Oh, there's a copy of Rance magazine here, I see. No doubt Mr. Garrett enjoys the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, too.
The great detective has a great many followers, it would seem. That uniform looks fairly ancient, doesn't it?
It's clearly been well looked after, though.
That old thing? Pah, not much better than rags, really.
Oh,
Wore that ceremonial garb at my retirement bash, you know. But I'm not one for dwelling on the past. We would have gladly thrown it out, but you know how it is. Anyway, it doesn't hurt to have the odd piece of memorabilia lying around, does it?
oh, I see. Perhaps we should leave the past in the past. So he was in the army and doesn't like thinking back on it. Is what safe? Oh, he's stirring his tea with the mouth end of his pipe. I'll show you again if he does it again. Are those mortar shells? They're enormous.
I hadn't noticed. What are they doing here?
Oh, those old things. A couple of little rounds I accidentally fired into the barracks during training, you know. Gave a bit of colorful regiment folklore, that incident.
You mean you deliberately hunted out the spent shells?
Well, I wouldn't say deliberately, exactly.
This is what I asked, if this is safe. This, how and why?
They're only scrap iron after all, usually just thrown away, I believe. But you never know when things might come in useful, do you?
Useful for what exactly?
Yes, well...
And see, he just tapped it in the thing.
Joan here did manage to knock one of the bally things on my foot the other day while she was dusting.
Oh, no!
Hadn't shed a tear since 1869 before then, you know?
Maybe reconsider throwing them away? Are you saying that this guy's a hoarder? I'm getting that impression.
That looks like a Medal of Honor, and it's showcased on a very grand banner.
Yes, it's displayed with some pride, I would say. Though it bothers me that it's not straight.
What, that old thing?
Sorry?
I should be glad to see the back of it, but the general would turn in his grave if I disposed of it.
He's sentimental but doesn't want to admit it. Yeah, that makes sense, Laura. Because there seems to be a specific trend to the things that he says. Oh, you never know when this might be useful. That is a fair point.
Wall's the best place for it. Keeps the bally thing out of my way.
So it's just been polished to shine by accident, I suppose. Yep. There's the tell right there. Yep.
There appears to be an inscription on the medal itself. Look. Let me see. It says, for distinguished participation.
Sounds like the kind of honors even I could be in line for.
Well, one doesn't like to blow one's own trumpet, but I was given that for my time in the army. Can't measure an officer by the number of medals to his name, of course. Common knowledge in military circles.
So I'm getting the impression this guy wasn't the best soldier. That portrait of Mr. Garrett is glaring at me, I swear.
Have you noticed that all the little frames contain photographic prints of Mr. Garrett as well?
Yes, and there seems to be a statue of a lion on the mantelpiece as well.
Ah, yes. Seemed to come back from the local pawnbroker with that little trinket.
Seems to come back? What do you mean?
The chap who runs the place is a bally wizard. Went in to sell him something and came out with that thing. Point of fact, now I think about it, I rather often find myself leaving the place with something I don't need.
The lion ornament certainly does seem surplus to requirements.
Susano-san doesn't pull her punches. Or throws for that matter. Oops. Okay, anything over here? How about this? Nope. Oh, there's a gun. I can't examine the gun. Or the drying rack. Or the target thing. Oh, I can examine this.
Look at that enormous screen. It must have been put there deliberately, surely.
Yes, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from view. What could be behind it, I wonder?
I'm gonna have a very quick look. Just a little peek.
Maybe let's not, Miss Sato. I think the maid is gonna head us off with a cup of tea.
Oh, look! What a wonderful collection of cakes lined up on that gleaming silver cake stand.
Lined up? It's more like someone has half demolished them to me.
Afternoon tea is a time of indulgence, you know. It's quite the English way. It's Mr. Garrideb's custom to take 2 cakes with his tea. That sounds delightful.
Oh, wait a minute though. There are at least 10 cakes on this cake stand.
Well, naturally, it would never do to waste leftovers. So whatever Mr. Garrideb doesn't eat, I say to myself, Joan, you shall have to tidy up.
How magnanimous of you.
This old candle holder looks a little out of place here, wouldn't you say?
Yes, you're right. It's clearly supposed to be gold, but it's almost completely black for some reason. He takes tea 5 times. Maybe. That whole thing. Yes, just a cheap piece of ironmongery. Gimcrack, really. Oh. Used it when I was studying, don't you know? For my commission. I know it's old, hardly worth hanging on to, really, but, well, still has its uses sometimes.
Of course.
Does everything in this room have some elaborate story behind it?
They're memories, Mr. Naruto. Memories.
Look at this crockery on display here. It's rather unusual, isn't it?
Oh my, a genuine London dresser. Isn't it delightful? Well, the shelves seem to be broken and the crockery is... Oh dear, it's in pieces!
It really is. The word cracked wouldn't do that Chinaware justice.
Huh, I wonder. Perhaps the cannon was fired at it.
Yes, probably something like that, but let's not delve too deeply here. Alright. What's that on the floor? They're not letting me examine it. Alright, I guess we're gonna talk to this guy. Good day to you. John Garrideb at your service.
Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer.
Do excuse me not getting up. Shot to the knee a few years back at the Battle of Maiwat, don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, but had to withdraw from service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings. So he's a retired soldier. It's a hell of a job getting up and down stairs now, I can tell you. Don't get out much, as you can imagine. Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the 2nd floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs.
You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo.
Do you think so?
Well, Mr. Garrideb, no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal.
Oh, it was nothing. The medal's just a folderol, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I grudgingly displayed it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joan? These good people see it properly. Joan! Ah! Dash it, old woman! Be careful!
No! Dearly me, I do beg your pardon, sir.
You jolly nearly took the skin off my hands!
I shall be more careful, sir.
So anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now.
Yes, I see.
Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging downstairs. Is that right?
She's hiding something. She's hiding a lot. Maybe he is too. We'll find out.
Lodging downstairs, right?
Yes, we'd be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us.
Only too pleased, naturally, especially if it comes to keep the peace here in Blighty. We've forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you're aware. So this case is very much in the public eye, as it were.
Oh, is it?
Even had some famous detective poking around, you know. This old house, would you believe?
Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea, all that detective business.
Oh, but you have a copy of Rance magazine here. Anyway, the chap's investigating the foreigner's room as we speak.
So he's in Soseki-san's room.
It's a bally nuisance is what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching its curtains now. I don't like all this fuss. It's jolly unsettling.
Mr. Natsume then, Mr. Garrett, please do tell us.
Ah, yes, the Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week.
Oh, just 1 week? So he moved in very recently then.
I have 2 lodgers most of the time, one on the ground floor and one just below us. The first floor room became available a week ago. There've been... Ah! Dash it all, Joe! Do be careful!
Oh, my goodness, I'm terribly sorry, sir. If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him. Oh, why? He seemed to have a most nervous disposition, always shaking and looking over his shoulder. The man had shady written across his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joe, that man is trouble. Sooner or later, he's going to do something untoward. And I'm rarely wrong about anything.
We won't be calling this maid as a witness, that's for sure.
Was there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all? Oh, yes, indeed there was.
And she's dying to tell us. Yeah. Super sus right here. Oh, yeah. For sure, fire. For sure. It seems that the incident took place at around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out of the window at around that time?
Window?
Yes, we noticed the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby?
5 o'clock is dinner time in the Garradeb household. So I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joan?
No, sir. It would have been dusk outside already at that hour. And with the fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road.
Oh, I see.
Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then?
Such as?
Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated.
There's boxes on the shelf there. Can I check those?
Well,
Yes? Was there something then? Okay, watch. If she burns his lap with more tea here, then we know she's trying to keep him quiet about something.
well, it's nothing particularly significant, but around that sort of time in here, there... Ah! For the love of God, Joan, watch what you're doing!
There it is. You did it.
Oh, dearie me, what have I done? I'm awfully sorry, sir.
Do be more careful, woman!
Of course, sir. If I may, Mr. Narrow Hollow. Yes? I have an exceedingly good memory, and as far as I remember, nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all. You are hiding things from me, and you need to stop hiding things from me. Or the next thing to get burned is not going to be his lap, but your face. Of course, Ryunosuke can't say that, but I can. Oh, really, Mr. Garadep? The way you were talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been.
Oh, well, as I was saying, it was just a trifling matter, really. Nothing of... Ah! Joe Ashidal, what is the matter with you, woman?
Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened.
Yes, right. Nothing happened. We sat down for a quiet, uneventful meal. Joe?
That's right, Mr. Garadeb.
What is the matter with these two?
It sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident, but what? I wish I knew. Okay. You, lady with the teeth, leave the room now. Had you noticed anything else at all about your lodger, Mr. Natsume? My word, yes! The man was shadier than an orchard! Could you elaborate? Well, take the man's room. Absolutely stuffed full of books it is, more than anyone could ever read. Wait. Maybe he did it, and she's trying desperately to protect him. Point is, I don't trust her as far as I can throw her. He never so much as passes the time of day with another living soul. I haven't seen a single visitor call. Just trots off to that old bookshop every single day and comes back at 5 to light the gas fire. The funny little man is up long past the time everyone else in the house has gone to bed too. Oh, I see. The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed at around 9 each night. But I've never known that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning. Ah. Could you clarify something, I wonder? What, pray? How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine? Woo! I've understood that neither of the lodgers live on this floor of the house. Is that correct?
That's right, yes. They're both below us. On the first floor and street level.
Then how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times that they come back in the evening, for example, even the times they go to bed. Okay, what? He didn't say anything.
Good grief, Joan! Be more careful, woman!
Oh my goodness, sir, I'm terribly sorry, sir. No, you're not. Quit the bullshit. Something doesn't add up here. Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsume's room is on?
Why, sir, just below us on the first floor.
Mr. Schultz is investigating there even as we speak?
Yes. Told me Nuts his name and asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key.
Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Schultz's services? That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we also had a look around? Mr. Natsume's room, I mean?
Don't see why not. It's just down one flight of stairs.
Unless we will find anything that could help us with the case, but we have to try. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on. Shall we? Yes, and while we're there, we can speak with Mr. Schultz again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more.
Right, I was gonna check up there. Nope. Okay, never mind. Oh, by the way, if this is the era of England that I think it is, these people are both doomed. You see these walls? You see these walls here? The green walls? You know what they used for green dye for walls around this time in England? They used arsenic. And that arsenic would get into the air. And it would make and it would make the people in the room steadily go crazy and eventually die. So yeah, I'll let you draw your own conclusions with that. I don't need to poison them, the room's already full of it. We still haven't been here yet, I wonder what awaits us. 19th February, Mr. Natsume's room. What? Just look at this place. Smell it. It's so musty in here. I suppose it's the mountains of old books that are responsible for that. Oh, there's a cat. I see cat. We must interrogate cat. I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life. No, me neither. It's so dark in here, too.
Is that the window over there?
Well, it was the window, I think, yes, once upon a time. But for some reason it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. So this is where Mr. Natsume lives.
By the way, I haven't spotted Mr. Sholmes anywhere, have you?
No, that's true, but according to what Mr. Garrett told us, the great detective should be around here somewhere investigating.
Cat. No!
Oh my, what an adorable little cat! Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master is away.
I don't know about that. He disappeared into that pile of books as quick as a flash. It was a tricolor Nikkei, wasn't it? Do they even have that sort of cat here in Great Britain?
Perhaps Mr. Natsume brought the little creature with him from Japan.
That's made me feel homesick now.
Already? We've only been in the country for 2 days.
That desk seems to be wedged into a crevice between the mountains of books on either side.
I suppose Mr. Natsume would sit there and read while stroking his cat. Surrounded on all sides by these towering old tomes. Surely he dreamt of books every night as well.
Yes, he must have done, mustn't he?
Oh! What's this?
It's a receipt from a second-hand bookshop. Your books.
Oh yes, Mr. Natsume's name is on it. Look, the date of purchase, 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m. That's the day of the incident.
That's just a short while before he was embroiled in the terrible attack. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books.
The second-hand book receipt has been entered into the gold record. I know, right, Fire? I want the cat. We'll have to go with this cat.
Oh look, it's a beckoning cat from home.
It's a bit big and bulky, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsume didn't bring that Maneki Neko all the way from Japan with him.
I hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you forgetting the enormous Dharma doll that you brought in your luggage?
Well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad. I wanted a lucky charm.
Well, I imagine Mr. Natsume wanted the same, and this cat is sure to beckon good luck to him.
It's not doing a very good job so far, is it?
You mustn't say such things!
I didn't say a word! Why are my eyes such a giveaway? Could you even call this a window?
I think so. It was a window at one time, after all. Although, all it remains is a frame around some bricks now.
So really it's just a wall then, isn't it? Why would anyone deliberately brick it up like that?
I'm afraid I have no idea. Ah! Perhaps Mr. Natsume painted the brick design on it in a fit of whimsy.
We've seen the bricks on the outside. I'm pretty sure that's real brick. That's alarmingly feasible. Anyway, whatever the reason, the lack of ventilation here makes the place very oppressive.
It does. I imagine being cooped up in a room like this would be extremely trying.
They can see the dialogue reflected in your eyes. I guess in a manner of speaking, yes, that's a suitable explanation. Hang on. Something's happened over here. Okay. Knowing previous Ace Attorney games, you'll probably cross-examine the cat. Yeah, probably. Probably. Look at all those books stacked up there. They almost reach the ceiling.
They're all works of English literature, and they all smell so musty.
Okay, that'll have to do. With this volume of books to hand, you'd never be short of reading material, would you?
Oh, what a dreamy idea.
A bad dream, maybe. For me, at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the book that's at the bottom of the pile now will ever be read again.
So reading it is an experience that comes but once in a lifetime, just as the tea ceremony teaches us.
I certainly didn't expect the conversation to turn down the path of tea ceremony philosophy. There he is! You were close, Fire. He is over a pile of books. He is on the pile of books.
Ah, look, Mr. Naruhodo!
Aha! There he is! Where did he appear from? He was just out of view of the camera.
He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope he won't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Sholmes!
Ah, you two. Hey, I need to remember the voice. Yeah. Good day. Now, let me see. Where was it that we met?
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, we were together on the SS Moria.
Yes, of course, Laboria. And let me see. What happened on that voyage?
It was Kazuma Asogi. He died, tragically, but you were a great help to us.
Ah, yes, but of course. The case with Mr. Asogi. Okay, I have fixed the issue that's been taking my attention away for the past few minutes. Sorry about that. Was the one with the snake, wasn't it?
Oh,
Well, you seem to remember something of it at least.
What an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Herlock Sholmes. This is Mr.
Oh, no, my dear madam, hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. My names are safely recorded in my brain magic. Miss Naruhodo and Mr. Susato. I didn't expect him to take that direction. Try the other way around, Mr. Sholmes. I lose the first round. In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street sweep the day we arrived in London. But some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 30 minutes. I just realized, is this the first time Sholmes has openly admitted being wrong? Mark your calendars, folks. History has been made this very day. They apprehended Stosuke-san in that short amount of time? I'm afraid the pursuance of the new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvements a little. A little? It is a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls and can distend to any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they should elbow out the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of inimitable wisdom, you know, from an adventure entitled A Study in Scarlet. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I don't always remember my quotes of wisdom, but fortunately my associate pens them beautifully. Means Iris, I suppose. Mr. Sholmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned. Goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madam, I should be only too pleased. This murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case. He does accept my answers over his own, but he just kind of glosses those over rather than directly calling any attention to them, like he did this time. We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Stosuke Natsume. It seems that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road. Natsume. Yes, I believe it was a name rather along those lines.
Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little?
I'm sorry, Miss Susato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean.
What?
I can't believe he was looking Susato-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance. I assure you, I am not merely feigning ignorance. It would appear as if the pair of you are under some misapprehension. Oh? How? I assure you I have no recollection of accusing your astute compatriot of the crime. But that doesn't make sense! A good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request of me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene. A man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement at the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop in which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? The implication here, Fire, seems to be that Ryunosuke gives everything away via his facial expressions. Doesn't exactly have a good poker face, or even try to keep one. And hey, there's your explanation for how Sholmes found that address. That makes sense. I believe there was a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. Don't think Mr. Natsumi is the culprit, then. That I could not tell you. But it was aggravating my faculties. Hence why I returned here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books that I found myself quite lost in bibliophily. Do not be deceived into believing that I am a man of leisure. No, no, no. Oh dear. Tell me. Have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yes, Mr. Garrido, retired military man.
It was the first time I've ever met a soldier from the Great British Institution that is the services.
It was the first time I've ever met a maid from the Great British Institution that is... service. I didn't think it was that funny. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid.
Yes, I read as much in my Great Britain primer.
And so conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein. Want to tell the guard that you don't think he's guilty? Yeah, he should probably say something. How long does how long does voice change for character last for? Depends on how you do it. If you do the thing that does it for everyone, then hang on, let me just check this again. The voice change... Yeah. As it says in the description, the voice change lasts until the end of the screen. Maybe longer if I like it. But others can change it again to overwrite as opposed. Whether or not the household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein. Betoken their social standing? Sorry? Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not, probably the upper echelons of society, as households employ must start to constitute a large family.
Goodness, how extraordinary.
As you can appreciate, those in the precarious boundary between middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. I had no idea. And it's for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Specifically in the retired army veteran, Mr. John Garrick. Oh? Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am as yet unable to ascertain. Thoroughly lost on what it means to say. He's hiding something, but we don't know whether it has anything to do with the case. Dingy room. This room is thoroughly suffocating to this.
Give Reaper Man the voice of Mickey Mouse if I can. Yeah, I can. If he shows up for this stream, then you can do that with your credits. This room is thoroughly suffocating from the stomach, my dear fellow. Oh, click on each reward to get a description before you, like, It'll give you a description before you are locked into it. Don't worry. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later.
Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one.
Ah, but sooner or later, as I said.
Don't believe that's the issue here.
About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window. Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. Window tax? What is that?
Surely not a tax on windows.
Precisely that. Oh my goodness! Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home perhaps, rapidly closed windows up. While the rich opened windows here, there, and everywhere, in an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money.
Awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light.
Indeed, disease was rife as a result. So some 40 years ago, or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. It appears so. I've done a little digging, and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price.
Because the room is so awful, I should think.
Here, I'll do you a favor then. Oh, what? It's not letting me see the... The reward descriptions are cut off on my screen, so I can't copy paste the description like I had wanted to.
Because the room is so awful, I should think.
Apparently, Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rate is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. Oh? Still, that is of little relevance here. A matter not worthy of further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Yeah, I'm with Ryunosuke on this one. Well, I believe I've told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? You remembered that, did you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? I'm not sure. Not sure? On what grounds? Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday. Really? Well then, I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized. And so promptly, too. The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? Yes. Trust. Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea! Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? Ah yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room, and there are witnesses who swear to having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Are the witnesses Garadeb and the maid? I'm like 85% sure that one of them is going to be that to borrow Natsume's term, accursed maid. Ah, and one more thing.
Oh, what is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us!
I cannot say with any certainty whether or not this is relevant to this case, but I am quite sure the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Garrett, is? Mr. Sholmes said so much before, actually, didn't he? Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case.
Mr. Naruhodo, as yet our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence.
Oh, they said before the witness. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you for that, Fire. I had forgotten. No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probe a little deeper into Mr. Garadev's secret. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. Okay. I did not mean to move here. Okay. Okay, is the maid gone? Damn it! Ah, you pair again. Tell me, was the detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there?
Mr. Herlock-Sholmes?
Yes, rings a vague bell. All that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there. Jolly good show. Not a cup of tea, if you please, Joe. Do you burn him this time? Now then, why don't you tell me what... Ah! For the umpteenth time, woman, will you watch what you're bally well doing?
I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir.
Yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave, if you'd be so kind.
Oh, yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for all your assistance.
Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourselves. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garadev is hiding something. And since no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment, perhaps we should do some digging. Oh yeah, they're not going to let me... They're not going to let me do anything different here. Okay. Wait, what? Oh! Oh, right. Okay, hang on. Oh, they can't... I can't present? Why can't I present? Oh! Hello! You said something about Spider-Manning on the wall? Ah! What's he doing over there?
Mr. Sholmes?
Aha! We meet again, my dear fellows. Good gracious! When did you sneak in here?
Herlock... Whatever were you doing over by the window?
I am given to watching the evening sky as the sun sets. Yet sadly, cheerful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks an aperture for such observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space by the window up here. Well, keeping an eye to one's windows at dusk is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. I know, right, Fire? Ah, one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, me?
I thought perhaps you might be in need of certain great detectives. Great minds.
I am very flattered to have had my friend compare this guy to me. This guy is quite entertaining.
Wait, he's not talking about... Is he... I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon.
Oh, are we gonna do this again? This is gonna be fun.
You mean, Mr. Sholmes? There is a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of practice.
I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, there's the line. I think so.
There is just time enough for one of my greatly admired great actions. Let us conclude the matter before dark. Mr. Garrison, though it would seem you are a military man of considerably distinguished service, your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call first-rate.
Will he put me in shackles again? Let's hope not. It might be a good idea, but let's hope not.
I'm afraid, sir, that it is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I've been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements.
I beg your pardon.
The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care.
Huh?
And the second is that as a result of the beast's rampage, you have lost something very dear to you.
Mr. Naruhodo, look!
The old man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Schultz's conclusions are both spot on.
How could you possibly?
How could I possibly know, you mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of beasts. And I know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin?
Is it that cat?
Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
Here we go.
Topic 1. Danger of the Beast. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? And he looks up at them. Ah, for a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrett, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that is revealed by that lion statue. Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best. A fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts. I thought you said that was you. Oh, right, jungle of logic versus literal.
What is this pipple, I ask you?
In the end, your admiration became so great that you had a living specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house.
What? Oh, something's on his face. Something's on his face.
Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. Killing traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well, yet, as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance at your direction. It is. Your dress gives us the huntsman for west of the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a snowfish ship. Ah! Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Gavinet. At Batty's service. The traveling show currently searching in the nearby park I have observed the tents. You stole the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. I most certainly did not! I believe I have made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok this week was an Indian lion. And a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. A rampaging conclusion, a rampaging Asiatic lion. Topic 2, Aftermath. Now, Mr. Garrett, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. And there's his hand. Indeed, in that live pose, this distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Nope. Mark on his face. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible. Nonsense, man! I simply... But what we must now ask ourselves is the true cause of this pain. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. For potloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has had a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of life. So you had no choice but to let it go. If I remember correctly, the mark on his face looked more like a handprint. Did the maid slap him? Yes, well, Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. It got burned. Oh, there's a candle there. A very expensive wooden carpet, if I am not mistaken. Candle fell on it and it caught fire. Oh, dearie me. What would cause such a destructive outburst? You. This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. This candle here fell off, ended up down there somehow. Did someone take it off and throw it or something? There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it or was it not once said by a certain noble, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Food is at the heart of all tragedy. Whatever do you mean? Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There is only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. There are teeth marks in the carpet? Carpet gnawed on by the starving lion. Carpet gnawed by the starving lion. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this beastly puzzle. Tasty. What is the matter with you, Joan? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Gavin. I'm afraid I didn't notice.
My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times too.
Oh.
Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in again, but could I make an observation? Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it, again? Well, your deductions just now, do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room this size? Indeed, this is the only explanation for the fact.
terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense. But wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well?
But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garrett and his mate would have been hurt, or worse.
Ah, that's where you are stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that logic. I thought you said that they sold the lion to the circus.
And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe I had ever heard of a lion that drinks tea.
Ah, my dear Miss Sato, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on Great British soil, they are infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea.
Oh, what a glorious notion. Well then, Mr. Naruto, it's your turn to shine again.
I had a feeling that was coming.
A slight massage, that's all Mr. Sholmes' deductions need. You can do it!
Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty butler introduction to step forward, Mr. Naruto.
We don't even know yet whether or not this is going to help with Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least, that's what I want to believe. Let us start again. From the beginning of Herlockian's Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Ah, for a man with the military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Aye. Your furtive glance, Mr. Gavin, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast is revealed by that line. Except it's not. I really didn't see the lion thing coming. Oh, and can I just note something? That it's really clever that in the previous case we had a guy, Bruce Fairplay, if you remember him, who had spent the entire first part of his appearance with his head placed in such a way that we only got a profile view of his face. You remember that? And then eventually he does turn around, and we don't really see anything remarkable about the other side of his face. He just looks normal once he's facing the camera. And then we had again here another guy, Garadeb, who was facing sideways to the camera, and that was a profile view of his face. But this time there was something significant on the other side. That mark, right? So the previous case conditioned us to think that, okay, this side view of some people's faces is normal when they're of a certain disposition, and there's no reason to think there's anything suspicious on the other side of his face. But then there is this time. Clever. I thought Fairplay was hiding something on the other side of his face the other time. Then he wasn't.
No, but if you observe Mr. Garadep's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok here in this room.
Yes, something with a very fierce nature.
But it couldn't have been a lion transported from India.
So what was it then?
We must follow Mr. Garadep's gaze. That will lead us to the true answer.
Okay, I can use the... arrow keys to turn left and right, not up and down. Can I see what's in the photograph frame?
What's this photograph? It appears to be from Mr. Garadep's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he?
It does, but you can't make out his bride.
No, how unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face.
I wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply there. The glass is broken, so you can't see the bride's face at all. But no amount of cracks could hide the woman's plump form. I think powerful would be kinder than plump, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, she certainly looks that. There's a lot of horsepower there. Not someone you'd want to upset, that's for sure.
Oh, look! Have you noticed her wedding ring? It's very large, isn't it?
Yes, that's an unusual design. Is Joan wearing that? It looks like some sort of embellished sunflower. Did you just connect the dots to Fire? These are shells for the cannon, are they? What a strange place to keep them. I imagine they have some significance to Mr. Garadeb from his time at the army. Ah, of course, he mentioned a battle to us before, didn't he? Do you remember? He said that he'd been shot in the knee. Perhaps it was one of these that hit? If a round that size had hit his knee, there'd be nothing left of it. Or Mr. Garadeb, for that matter. Mr. Schultz has a Persian slipper. And this man has spent shells. Perhaps it's customary in Britain to display, well, rubbish on the mantelpiece. Let me examine this more closely again. Anyway, I'm gonna present Newlywed Bride.
Take that!
So it wasn't the cat. Okay. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that newlywed bride. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. Yes, this framed print pictures your wife, Mr. Garadeb. Oh no. Oh no. Are they the witnesses? No way. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscure. Customary to display rubbish, and since then has anything really changed? No, not really, Fire. That is a fair point. We can still make out her mighty arms and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Indeed, surely any woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a beast. Honored might be stretching a point. And that's related to why she slapped me. Too late! The fact remains that the beast which so clearly savaged this room was your wife, Mr. Garrett. There's the hand part. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well, yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is. Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Let's look for that ring, shall we?
The fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself.
Well, I don't know about fragile.
Oh, dear. Anyway, Mr. Schultz is quite right. There's no sign of a Mrs. Garadeb anywhere.
It seems there may be a clue as to her whereabouts. A clue that this maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Mr. Garadeb's wife could be. I get that to go away? Oh yeah, the ring would be gone because... Oh, no it's not. There we go. She's wearing a very large ring, look.
Oh yes, a sunflower design with some rather nice embellishments. And it's on the ring finger of her left hand, which means it's surely a wedding ring.
Looks like it's on there for life, too. Can't imagine it would slide off a finger of that size.
That's something to think, Mr. Naruhodo, not to say. Do you know Mr. Garradeb's wife in the photograph had a ring very much like this one? It was a large sunflower design as well.
Really? You have a great memory for these things. Large sunflower wedding ring. Quite a coincidence that they have the same ring, isn't it? Yeah, I think we got the picture now. Sholmes was telling us before that you need to have a maid in order to be considered of remotely good standing in British society at this time. So Garradeb was probably like, came up to his wife and said, "Hey, you be a maid. We won't let anybody know." And she probably hated the idea, but eventually rolled with it.
Take that!
Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts.
Oh!
Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. For it is identical to the one shown on the hand of Mr. Garradeb's bride in this photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. No. You are Mr. Garradeb's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Garradeb herself.
Oh! What?
Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightly surmised, this is the wife, yes, my Joan. Rather let herself go, you might say, but she was a bally corker-back. Ah!
It would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you are a retired army man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms.
Sure.
I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct?
It's not right, I tell you! I was 2nd Lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? By golly, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ.
Yes, here in London one is rather judged. A housemaid cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though, in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are folly. You mean Mr. Garradeb has his wife work as his maid? Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Garradeb?
Only in company, obviously. But listen here, this must remain a secret. Tip-top secret! Please!
Raging wife of Mr. Garradeb. Solved. Now, Mr. Garradeb. It is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm, except not... No. Mr. Sholmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garradeb's wife a beast.
Yes, as a woman, that feels rather uncomfortable.
She must have gnawed on the carpet. Maybe. But, Mrs. Garrett is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? Oh, how true! So perhaps that supporting arm that seems to be propping up his head has some other significance then. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrett's pain is tangible, though. What could that pose of his really signify? I think we already know this. Slapped cheek. There it is. Oh my! Look at that bright red mark!
Gosh, that's quite something, and clearly made by somebody's hand.
Yes, Mr. Garrett has been slapped on the face, it seems. Hard.
I've never seen such a clearly defined mark. Whoever could have done such a thing?
Well, there's a very limited number of candidates, I'd say.
Take that!
Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek. And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek refuses to fade. Was you, Madam Joan Garrideb?
Well, yes.
You have been desperate to hide that slap mark on your cheek, sir. Ah!
Oh, blazes! How did you work that out, man?
Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. To keep your other side from view.
Well,
Now, let us proceed to the next. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Garrideb to fly into a rage. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. The direction of the gaze has changed. Oh, no, it hasn't. Yes, it is this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Didn't Mr. Sholmes say that the bills were all for lion fodder? Yes, but now we've established that the lion never existed, which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was Mr. Garrideb's wife.
Mr. Naruhodo, she's a person, not a thing!
Yes, well... Okay. She's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap round the face. One so hard that it left a perfect handmark, in fact.
Yes, why would a woman want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder?
I'd love to know the answer to that. I'd love to know the answer to that question. What are the bills for? Let's find out.
Looking at all these bills, it certainly amounts to a great deal of food.
Eating potatoes by the cartload, wasn't it? Well, looking at the two of them, you can tell immediately who eats the lion's share in this household.
Well, at least we're no longer talking about an actual lion anymore.
What's this bookmark say? Oh!
Huh, someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here, look. Mr. Garrideb is clearly an avid reader.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark.
Oh no, so it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary.
And look next to the signature here.
Lip marks made with lipstick. Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture.
Only problem is it's not from his wife. Don't get any ideas, Susato-san.
Oh dear, I'm sorry.
So this bookmark is actually a love note then. So this card that looks like it's being used as a bookmark is actually a love note.
Yes, reading, oh James, I love you. Yours, Mary.
Mr. Garrideb's first name is Joan, isn't it?
Yes, I believe we may be heading into dangerous territory here. It's very conspicuous after all, isn't it?
You mean the bright red lips next to the woman's signature?
Yes, it's the first thing you notice, of course, and it rather makes your heart skip a beat.
Tearing this one wide open, baby. Yes, it is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. Perhaps at the center of this note, a certain Miss Mary is the fly in the ointment here.
God! But I don't know the Valley Woman.
You don't know her.
That note wasn't written to me. It's just in the book. I don't know how it got there.
It was just in there, you say.
That's right. That's what I've been saying. Ah!
A likely story.
Now listen here, Joan, old thing. I explained at the time. I bought the book at the second-hand place, and that note must already have been in there.
So the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean?
That's right. That's what I've been saying. Ah! Oh, Joan.
A likely story.
For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name. It's written to James. My name, in case you've forgotten, is John. Ah!
A likely story.
Are you questioning my name now?
And there we have it. Arouse the suspicions of the female heart, and you unleash a beast with a most ferocious might. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, dearie me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? Ah! This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of... Why are we back to the Tower of Cakes? Oh, right, no, that's right. This is where the Tower of Cakes came in. Yeah. Yeah, I remember now.
But surely Miss Garrett didn't eat the carpet. No, of course not. There doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray that this room is in is a result of her wild temper. No, that's true. So this is the last part of Mr. Sholmes' induction that we need to fix. We need only to follow Mrs. Garrett's gaze, and that will tell us the real answer. Alright, let's see what we can see. Yes!
Can we...
This looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it? The base looks too small. Surely it's very unstable. Looks to me like even the slightest knock would make it topple over. Oh dear, that would be dangerous. Wait, take a closer look at this. There's one candle missing. How long do I think I'll be streaming for? For the next hour, and then I'll be wrapping it up. Yes, I didn't notice that before. Why is that, I wonder? Why is one candle of the three missing from its holder? Okay, it's not going to let me...
Take that!
I need to present the canvas. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the canvas. Most illuminating, my dear fellow. And of course, the only possible way out of this logic. Yes, the remnants of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Okay, good, we got it. Indeed, they are. The scorch marks at the edge clearly give them away.
Scorch marks?
It would appear that this room was the scene of a little marital altercation. Mrs. Garredev's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused a candle to fall from the holder. In seconds, the carpet was alight and the whole corner of the room in flames. Alright, well thanks for watching as long as you did fire. Thanks for being so active in the chat.
Yes, sir.
No
ferocious beast in this world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman. Fire. And in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is but one conclusion here. After the sparks of marital discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire. Mr. Sholmes, sir, I salute you! How would she hit him that hard without separating his head from his body? That is a good question. That is a very good question. Carpet scorched by a small fire. Maybe what actually happened was the slap sent him flying into the table, and then that knocked the candle down. It's these dashed long winter nights, you know. Nothing to do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there. And in the pages of one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material. For which your wife admonished you harshly, it seems. Don't know about admonished. Demolished might be rather closer to the mark. And beast is most certainly an apt Go again. The carpet? Was that destroyed by fire when a candle fell on the floor? Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. I was caught between the old stick's rage and the raging flames. You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining. That's sympathy for you. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. Bally furniture started going up as well. We've had to hide the mess behind that screen for the time being.
Over here, Mr. Garradeb?
Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you'll allow me. And all my favorite old novels in that case.
Just consider yourselves lucky that the wallpaper didn't catch. That's all I can say.
As soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh, up in smoke. Gosh. Then the wife started hurling things at me.
What a terrible sight it must have been.
There was I, backed up against the window under heavy enemy fire. Incendiary books incoming 10 to the dozen. Worst of it is, I lost my favorite. Book called The Lion's Pride. Lion's Pride? Ah yes, your notorious love of big cats coming in. I assure you the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest. So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the ferocious beast's rampage.
Mr. Sholmes' deductions turned out to be correct once again. It can only be described as a great British wonder.
I tell you, it was total carnage. Flames everywhere and the old stick in full fettle.
Out of interest, what time of day was that?
I'm sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see, around 5 o'clock, I think.
So at exactly the same time, as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window on the street below.
Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. The whole of Blighty could have been flattened outside my window at that moment. I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing.
Oh, really?
So he didn't see shit. Mr. Sholmes. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. What can I do for you?
Well, I think we've got to the bottom of Mr. Garradeb's situation now. What does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances?
I can't help you there, I'm afraid.
We've learned two important things.
one, these two couldn't possibly have witnessed the stabbing, and two, there's something we probably need to visit that bookstore, the secondhand bookshop, because it's come up here and it's come up with Natsume. I think there's more to learn from it. What? My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that although I knew the retired army man to be hiding something, I could not be sure whether his secret would prove to be of relevance or not. I just knew you were going to say that! Now, Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one of only two categories, those relevant to the case and those not. That makes no sense to me. Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your mind now. Sorry? Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over. Oh no, is it that time already? If we're to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have official paperwork to attend to. So that's it. No more time to think. Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell now? I must prepare supper for Mr. Garrett. Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. Thank you both very much for your time. Sosuke-san will be waiting for us. I'm gonna have to give him an answer. Can I examine this? What a miserable sight. Oh dear, but at least the whole room wasn't engulfed in flames. I suppose so. But my whole collection went up in smoke, you know. All those novels I adored so much.
Well, John, whose fault is that?
Not mine, that's for sure!
Well, whoever may or may not be to blame. I'm quite sure you can buy some new old books to replace them, can't you?
New old books, valley nonsense!
Does sound like a contradiction in terms. Then these two are full of contradictions.
That's couples for you, Mr. Naruhodo. Or so I've been led to believe.
Alright, let's go back to the prison.
We finally get to cash in. Maybe. 19th of February, Briar Road.
It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. We must hurry back to the prison.
Yes, I know. Let's hail a cab. Oh.
What's the matter?
It looks like something's going on over there in front of the Gardat's house.
Huh?
Okay, who is this? Well, if I know the usual Ace Attorney pattern, this guy did it. We know what the secret of those two is now, and it doesn't seem to lend itself to any sort of. But then, why would she want to keep him quiet about? Yes, there was the trifling matter of. Yeah, she was just trying to keep quiet what had happened around the time of the murder in that room. Okay. Anyway. I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers.
Who are you calling, old man? You rum-looking nimmity-pimmity?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Or maybe it's just because this guy looks so much like a culprit from the last Ace Attorney game that I played. I'm wrong. You did it? See, now, I would believe that you lit the fire in the room, but I find it hard to believe that you stabbed the woman. I think that was all. If anyone.
Who's this Horatio fella, eh? What are you on about?
Excuse me.
What the? Who are you now?
I'm sorry, it just looks as though there might be some problem here. My associate here, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see.
A lawyer? What?
If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I have studied English.
Fine, I'll be on my way for today, but you mark my words. This ain't over yet.
Get thee to a nunnery!
Do I look like a bloomin' nun to you?
I do hope you're not injured. Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle. Thank you. What was that all about? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. I'm not Horatio either. Forgive the inquiry, sir, but... Are you a lodger here? Is this in the Garrett residence? Like I said to Fire earlier, Aram, I'm going to be on until the next hour, so another 40 minutes-ish. In the Garrett residence? Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. Mr. Garrett mentioned that he had another lodger, didn't he? This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor? Oh, yes, the gentleman named Natsume. Oh, more worthy a polemist in my battle of words ne'er could there be. Sorry, battle, did you say? Who is the stronger? Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night. You missed the B and wait. Ah, yeah. I see. I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at least. So, fair maiden, so good gentleman, I can tarry here no longer. Fare thee well! I didn't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room. It seems he's unaware of what happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. With Soseki-san with that man as lodgers, the Garrett house is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go find a carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly awaiting our return. Let's hope we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over. Okay. 19th of February, 6:31 p.m. Local prison, cell 9.
Oh, it's you! You're here! You came! Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! I can't believe you came back! I'm so touched!
This is painful. I am not keeping this. I'll keep it for the rest of the stream, but, We are so sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume.
Oh, no! Think nothing of it! Relax! If I were a cat, I would burn with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots! Noble, nurturing, never failing Nipponese!
Oh, now let's not get carried away. Oh, I quite agree. There is nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. On the other hand... Oh, it's him. It is thorough friendship transcending international borders that one truly appreciates the fact. Such is my belief, at least.
It's you! The miserable rotten spy, Herlock Sholmes!
Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here? I have no intention of doing anything per se, save observing things.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Well, having encountered curious reading material in that room, having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how our divested friend is faring.
Room for room?
At least your accommodation here offers a window. That's it is the superior. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight. Cost me not a penny.
Ah! You! How dare you, Herlock Sholmes! Ah! I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I should never have come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings. No doubt my luck will be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life has been damned!
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? He mentioned that once before, didn't he? That his lodgings were cursed, I mean.
And there is much truth in Mr. Moustache's words. What? Cursed is a wholly appropriate description, I would say, for the man's lodgings, and indeed for tomorrow's trial.
What's that supposed to mean? Mr. Natsume, what did you mean by what you said just now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed?
Oh no! Why are you looking so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it.
Oh, I see. That's really agitated him.
You don't mean the trial really is cursed somehow?
Are you referring to the prosecutor, the Reaper of the Bailey?
The Reaper? Oh no, what do you mean? Please tell me! Summarize this succinctly in 16 salient words!
No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution. Ever. 6, 8. Oh, that was exactly 16 words. Nicely done, Ryunosuke.
Oh my goodness, can it really be true? That was 16 words exactly!
Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper. But then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. Mr. McGilded.
What?
I am impressed, Mr. Sato. You have an eye for detail. Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Sholmes, surely it can't be that having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Van Zeeks killed the man himself? Oh no! He couldn't have, surely!
You have some wonderful notions.
Sorry?
The man isn't a mass murderer, he's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow.
Oh, yes. Why, of course he is.
Of course he is! Then why are you trying to scare me?
It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis.
What on earth do you mean by that? Let's ask about the cursed logics first. I wonder what Sholmes means there. Do they mean someone else is doing the killings to maintain the Reaper's reputation? But we saw that the Reaper was present when the omnibus caught fire. So, did he do it? Or was he just there watching someone else having done the dirty work for him? We'll find out. You said accursed lodgings before. You were referring to your room at Mr. Garadev's house, I assume? No, they are not fire. We've seen that. We've seen that previously in this very series, have we not? Yes, we have fire. Yes, we have.
Do you mean to say you believe the place is cursed?
It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain. But I'd only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself.
That didn't take long, Ben. I'm sorry. I need to take a drink here, or my vocal cords are gonna tear. Okay, let's try this some more.
Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me all the time from dawn till dusk. So I shut myself away in my room. But even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away.
That just sounds like mental illness, buddy.
You must have been very lonely having been away from your homeland for such a long time.
Or maybe it's the asbestos in the walls. Maybe that was getting to him. Maybe he's going crazy because he's inhaling trace doses of asbestos over the long. Sorry, not asbestos, arsenic. Arsenic. He's inhaling trace amounts of arsenic. He's been inhaling that for so long. And I mean, maybe also asbestos. I don't know if that was a thing at this time. I don't think it was. But my point is the arsenic. Arsenic makes you crazy and then it makes you die. So this is the court where that gets discovered. Maybe. One can only hope, Aura. One can only hope.
You must be very lonely having been away from your homeland for such a long time.
I've had to move a number of times. Most recently to that room on Briar Road a week ago now.
Yes, why did you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient. Sorry.
The rent is cheap. I have so little money it appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed." Oops! He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late. So I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it! And if not, don't mention it in the first place!"
Yes, well said. Maybe it's haunted by the cat?
But it was true! It was true!
You mean the room really is cursed then?
Ever since I moved into that windowless hellhole, my sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I wake feeling as though I'm being choked to death.
By a cat?
In my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer, thrown in prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. If only there was someone, just one person on my side. And no one find it in his or her heart to believe in me. Really, no one at all.
To believe, yes. To believe. Let's ask about the Reaper now. Let's see what Sholmes is thinking. Van Zeeks is a quite exceptional man. However, in London courts of law, exception does not equate to winning every case without exception.
That's good.
Thursky-san looks like he's gonna cry tears of joy. As you are no doubt aware, in the British criminal trial, there is both a judge and a jury. You need to fix what, Aura? The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It is an excellent system, whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. Oh my god, thank you! Thank you! Ow! My vocal cords, thank you, Aura. Okay. And I'm sure my neighbors do as well, because I had to be pretty loud to do that voice. However, public opinion in particular is quite easily manipulated. It's somewhat easily manipulated. Right. criminals and corrupt lawyers, for that matter, can use it to their advantage. By any means at their disposal, providing evidence, holding impostors as witnesses, and so on. By such underhand means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury, which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail.
But it means the wrong verdict can be passed.
And sadly is from time to time, my dear madam. It is simply the reality of the situation.
And that's all right?
However, those indicted by Lord Van Zeeks cannot escape justice. Their fate is online. Though the adjudication may see them leave the court with their freedom, within months they disappear. It is most striking. Disappear? But how? Ah, by all manner of misfortunes, sir. Perhaps they are trampled over a passing carriage. Perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown. Perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever, or perhaps attacked by highwaymen. Oh, no. All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Alrodo. Ah, I knew it. I'm dead, Dodo, done for, doomed! To believe. Mr. Sholmes. Ah, me, Mr. Alrodo. Pray, what can I do for you? It's about the case on the SS Buria, if you recall. The Buria. Ah, that case. The one with the snake. Well, yes. At that time, I was the suspect, but you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. And you helped us to investigate. I did I? Interesting. What I want to know is, why? Why did you believe me? I see. Yes. You mean... because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in a locked room. Well, if you like, yes. I'm a little surprised that the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said I didn't do it. But I could have been lying! Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little. I think perhaps you have misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor in that which you were telling me. What? Oh, here comes some true Herlockian wisdom. You see, the only things I believe in are those I choose to believe in.
What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
I make up my own mind about what is to be believed and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. Yet circumstances can hang, as far as I'm concerned.
But I could have betrayed your...
In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment. Nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse. Meaning? Whether or not one should trust another is, in the final analysis, down to one step. It is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself. Yes, he's right! He's right, Locum Student Mr. Arhodo Esquire! Whether or not I can believe myself. I feel like there is someone who was in the audience earlier, and I hope he is still here, who is taking notes. I will leave it at that. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. You were so right, Kazuma. Well, my dear fellows, it is time we were leaving, I think.
Already?
Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There is a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me?
Oh dear, there is never enough time, is there?
Yes, I do still have a sword with me. As a keepsake. Not sure how sharp it is. Mr. Natsume, if you'd like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you. Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. As I said, I only experienced a British court for the first time yesterday, and although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial. Something crucial? You only caught half of that, you just found your phone. Okay, so what Herlock has told us here now is that he chooses who to believe and who not to believe. And if he ends up being wrong, if his trust is betrayed, he made an error in judgment. Nothing more, nothing less. And that's life. He says what really matters is that he believes in himself. And apparently that resonated with that was basically exactly something that Kazuma had said before, and that Inosuke remembered it. So now we have our faith back in our clients. Something crucial. What to believe in. The defendant, justice, the truth. How to believe, even. But I think I finally worked it out. I've decided I must believe in myself above all else. Trust my instincts.
Yes, Mr. Naruhodo.
My instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. And it's imperative that we prove that in court. Who comes to me, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire? I will fight for your innocence until the bitter end with every weapon available to me. Including the sword? Hopefully not. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow. As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who would listen to me in my native tongue. Of course, Mr. Natsume. It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was in many ways made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end. Miss Susato. Yes? Would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court?
Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant.
Shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind, but it's time to stop looking backwards. Kazuma believes in me, and Mr. Sholmes believes in me now too. So it's time. Time that I learn to believe in myself. Soseki-san has no one. He's all alone. So it's my job to help him, to fight his corner. That felt the same as I value peace above all else, and I'll kill any man, woman, or child for it. Yeah. Is that a quote from somewhere? Because I remember that. That's all too quotable a sentiment. Tomorrow, with all the strength I can muster. Alright, we still got 15 minutes, so I'm gonna do a little bit of the trial here. Save your current progress. Yes, please. Go here. The clouded Kokoro indeed. The clouded heart. 20th February 2023. Will Bailey defendant safety. Hang on. You believe it's from Suicide Squad. Ah, fair enough, fair enough. I never saw that one. Yeah, sure. Well, I never expected this. Who'd have thought we'd be back here again so soon? We are on a study tour of Great Britain, with the intention of learning the country's legal practices. In order to research the latest court procedures here, we need as much court experience as possible. Smaller bullets guy? Yeah, that fits. That tracks. Well, yes, I suppose that's true, but for the person in the dock, it may well be his or her one and only time in court. It could be life-changing. In which case, treating it as research may seem a little crass.
Oh, when you put it like that, you're quite right.
Good morning! Ah, Mr. Natsume. Good morning.
Oh dear, are you alright? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot.
The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain. Yes, I've heard that expression. He's very short. Not as short as McGilded, but shorter than Susato. But I really don't want to catch a worm. Though I tried desperately not to wake up early, but I was so worried I couldn't catch a wink. And now I'm absolutely exhausted as a result. Do all literary people take things so literally?
Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume.
Well, I mean, you're not a bird, as far as we know. Is this guy a bird? Do we think this guy is secretly a bird? Such that waking up early would make him catch a worm? Is there something you're not telling us, Mr. Natsume? You vote bird. Yeah. I wish I had 9 lives. My whole future hangs in the balance. I'm too terrified to tremble. You seem to be doing a pretty good job now. Silly Bill, birds aren't real. You're not supposed to know that, buddy. Really? Because I can feel tremors. I can't do this! I can't take it! Hello. Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Yes? I caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. It looked like the opening night of the opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London. Oh, neither did I. Do you know why that mean? What? Do you know why that might be, Miss Susato?
I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo, but I have no idea.
That all-knowing look on your face is just coincidence, then, is it? Don't hide the truth from me! It's because of the Reaper, isn't it? Lord Van Zieks? Is that right, Miss Susato?
I purchased as many different newspapers as I could find this morning. Yes, Lord Van Zieks is on the front page of every one.
I knew it! Hang on, I need to... Okay. Wait a minute. What's this? Okay, Real, 17 February, 445. Custom Mr. Natsume. Some 2 shillings 10 from the seat of this. Okay, so I can't turn. I knew it!
Sometime after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey, he stopped appearing in court, it seems. It's been several years now, in fact, until the day before yesterday.
Yes, Inspector Gregson told us something similar, didn't he? The trial 2 days ago marked Lord Van Zieks' return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. The trial of Magnus McGilded. Ugh, what a harrowing experience that was. Did we need to buy the papers to see? Hang on. Yeah, she says that she purchased as many different newspapers and... Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, maybe she wanted to do more in-depth research than just the front page? Maybe? I hope.
I believe that appearance made even greater waves here in the capital than today's.
But we wouldn't have realized, of course, having only just arrived in the country.
Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon for what appears to be a mundane murder? That's the question the papers are asking. They're all speculating various answers.
Mundane? Mundane? It's the most significant saga of the century to some of us.
Oh dear, I meant no offense, Mr. Natsume, but that is how the papers are describing it.
Well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. Obviously, the reappearance of this infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention. But there's another blatant similarity with the trial of 2 days ago.
Yes, I agree.
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. It's you!
Me? Well, I suppose that's true.
Both times, it is you who stands against this legendary prosecutor. It can only be that you're friends with the Reaper! Please, I don't rub shoulders with... Please, I don't rub shoulders with Deathbringers!
Yeah, as far as we know, the woman is still alive, but I guess one could say that it was an attempted, which is close enough for the papers. I mean, you know how the papers can be.
I'm afraid that there's really only one other explanation. It can only be another example, Mr. Naruhodo, of your uncommon bad luck.
Thanks for that.
Oh, this is just my luck. This is just my luck. Why must I be represented by a man with such frail fortune? By the least lucky lawyer alive!
Well, let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you. Yes, it's true that I'm just a student new to London with little in the way of experience or skills, or luck. But I promise you this. I will fight your corner until the bitter end. And I will believe in you, Mr. Natsume.
Oh, benevolent locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
You're not alone here with us, Mr. Natsume. Whatever happens, we will always be on your side.
I mean, I haven't lost a case yet. And in 2 of those, I was representing myself. So... I like your odds, buddy.
Oh, benevolent non-locum assistant Miss Mikotoba Esquires.
Esquires? That's a thing?
I am in your debt forever. I shall never forget this great kindness for as long as I live. Mr. Natsume! Mr. Natsume, counsel for the defense? Counsel for the defense! The court session is about to begin. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once.
All right then, Mr. Natsume. It's time. Let's go.
Yes!
This is it. My second appearance in a British courtroom. Fire, if it was as simple as him doing it, then what was the significance of us meeting that Shakespearean guy? My second trial against the Reaper. I hope you're watching over me, because this time, I won't let my faith waver. I'll believe in my client to the last. Just like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight. Here we are again.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
The prosecution is fully prepared. The defense is ready, my lord. The Nipponese are truly fascinating. Sorry, what? Lord Strongheart has told me all about it.
that you are a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago. Mere amateur. Plot twist is that the clown is actually the prosecutor and the victim. So the clown, the vampire, and the dying lady are all the same person. Wow. See? But knowing this series, it's not impossible. You're amateur. Do you have a point? Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try to help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nepalese.
Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description. You said it was not. After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent.
Here he goes with the hallowed chalice. Very the most fascinating, dark fire lost. The tragic conclusion came later. Here's to the acquitted and his unfortunate violence. Alright, who's in the jury this time? Thank you, consuls. I see both sides are in fine battle. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out your duties here in court as impartial members of the public? Oh no. Oh no.
Do you remember this guy? Because I remember this guy. I remember this guy real well.
You never know when you might be down on your luck, but I believe in fair play for everyone.
Well, I must warn you, I'm rather more ruthless than I appear.
Oh well, not me. What you see is what you get. I'm a peace-loving fellow.
Oh, for...
You should not even be allowed here. You should not be allowed as a juror in this trial. How did you end up in here? You have been trying to nail the guy from the beginning. You are not impartial. You should not be here. What the hell kind of farce of a court is this? Juror number 1 has a grudge against the defense, and juror number 4 has a grudge against the defendant. What in the ever-loving hell?
Come on, what are we waiting for? No doubt he did it anyway. Sorry? Didn't quite catch that.
Evict her soul from her body. If only, Fire. If only.
Very well, let us proceed. Your opening statement, if you please, Lord Mancheeks.
What kind of kangaroo court are we in?
Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with a rising power. The accused in these up to date is a student from that same land, Mr. Soseki Nutful. While our country has extended this foreign student before Mr. Burns, regrettably, the kindness has not been returned. In fact, this student is accused of a most sinister of plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who was doing nothing but walking down the street.
Yeah, unfortunately, Perry is busy with greater threats of an admittedly similar nature, or so he would probably say. Alas, that'd be like calling in an airstrike on a Monday. You know, you catch my drift?
Knife crime? I tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst. Bloody oath they are.
Fire. Perry is the how to explain Perry? No, not Perry the platypus. Perry the thing. The interdimensional thing calling himself the god of nightmares who has taken up residence in my computer and in my head. Yes, he does Thursdays normally, but the computer that I'm working with right now is too much of a potato to handle his presence. So he's taken a break to deal with, he said, oily cat. I can only presume that's Sagba, the mate of Cthulhu, harbinger of disease and plague. Yeah, Orm's got the right idea.
Just look at that sallow complexion and short stature. He's one of those dreadful Japanese.
Come on, let's get this over with. With me now, everyone. 1, 2, 3.
Sorry. Didn't quite catch that.
Pray, forgive the discourtesy of smashing my hollow chalice here in this great chamber for the second time this week. Allow me to call the first witness to the stand. Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please.
Is it? Oh no.
Your name and occupation, please. Yes, sir. Marius Gregson, Detective Inspector of Scotland Yard. Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court? The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green. Olive Green? Really? I beg your pardon. Thought to be? Yes, having been stabbed in the back by her attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. That was 3 days ago now. She's been comatose ever since.
What? They don't even know who she is for sure? Oh right, Brick hat. Let's check that out.
Comatose. I see. But her life is not in danger? Fortunately for the Eastern student, the charge will not be made. Pray elaborate on the details, Inspector.
Oh, that thing. I thought that was like a notepad or something. Not a brick. It looks a bit bent to be a brick. But yes, Perry has ways of getting around worlds, including those of the games that we play. He seems personally acquainted with the mysterious antagonist of Inscription, at the very least, or at least one of them. He doesn't seem to get along too well with the other one. Hang on. Okay, I'm gonna have to end this soon. Sir, if I could ask everyone to look at this street map. As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago, around 5 in the afternoon. Happened on the pavement, running alongside Briar Road, wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn vehicles. Not long since it stopped snowing as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused and stabbed in the back.
Luckily, the young lady's life was spared, and she's currently being treated in one of the city's hospitals. Being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is the case file with everything we know about the victim so far. Thank you, Inspector. The court will accept the documents as evidence if you wish. File containing an overview of the case and details about the victim. She was found with a knife in her back and is currently in the hospital yet to regain consciousness. Let's review that. But of the victim. Young woman who entered unconscious following a stab wound to the back. Victim, all green female step early in the 20s, Road. Holding officer Rolly beat. Victim remains unconscious. Her name was gleaned from her personal effects. Other details are unknown. Apart from the single stab wound with a large knife, no other signs of injury were observed. The assailant was seen running away by the reporting officer and was successfully hurt for the rest of the following day. I see. What are his thoughts on platypodes? Beneath him for the most part, but another viewer here has a bit of a thing going where she makes jokes about him sharing about his nickname being the same as the name of the famous platypus, and there's even try entering Perry as a bot command. See what happens. So, I have that here. It's removed from the victim's back. Ouch. That big thing is starting to make me scared to walk down the street now.
With a heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman.
This ragged-looking Soseki-san, I suppose. Common or garden check, I would say. Rather nondescript. Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts the blade as evidence. Large but commonplace folding knife was found lodged in the victim's back. Now then, what do we know of the motive? Money or valuables, I presume?
Oh, look here, Mr. Naruhodo, just the tip.
Yeah, you can always check out the plots, the recordings. They're saved for like a month, I think. So check out the inscription ones. I hear they've been pretty fun.
Oh, look here, Mr. Naruhodo, just the tip. A small piece of the blade appears to be missing.
Right. Well spotted, Mr. Sato.
I wonder what could have happened to it.
Yes. You don't think it could still be lodged in the victim, do you?
Oh dear, I do hope not. That sounds terribly painful.
Can we check in the slot where the... What's this? Oh, that's just to close it again. Okay. Okay, it doesn't look like there's anything else to see here. Alright. Let's keep going. What are your valuables, I presume? From what we can tell by looking at the woman's possessions, it seems like she's a poor student herself. Hard to imagine she would have had anything much worth pinching, my lord. I see. Well, in that case, are we looking at some deep-seated resentment for the victim? I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from visiting second-hand bookshops, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, doesn't appear to get out much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim.
Yes!
If theft and grievance had been ruled out as the motive, what reason could Mr. Natsume possibly have had for stabbing the young woman? Yet you arrested the man in spite of that, in a totally unjustified and heavy-handed way. Oh, that's new. Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery. Yeah, that's gonna probably cause some injuries. But your words have soured its hollow bouquet. For it is you, my learned friend, who is being heavy-handed here. What? Scotland Yard does not arrest people without good cause. That should be beyond question. Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary came to arrest the police student. Yes, sir. I think that's a good place to leave it. Can I save here? Yeah, I have not had a meal today. I really, really, really should fix that and also give my vocal cords a break. So, let's save. So, thank you for watching, everyone. Hope to see you again. Hope to see you again Tuesday. And again, I'm gonna be doing. So until I regain access to the stronger computer that can handle the presence of Lord Peraltos, I am going to be running the Thursday streams myself, and they are going to be Monster Hunter. So, but thank you for watching, everyone, and be sure to follow if you haven't. And till next time, comrades.